One of my favorites is just talking about like independence and autonomy and how, as a young adult, when you're trying to build your life, how do you find that if you don't have a driver's license or you can't get hired?
Sometimes I feel like people didn't even know that they needed the support. And then once I get there, I'm like, yes, I needed people who just get it.
Let's talk about it. Let's build community. Help other people realize you're not alone in this.
Hey, I'm Greg Grunberg, and welcome to Talk About It, the podcast where we focus on topics that everybody should be talking about, and hopefully they will, or not only talking about, but screaming about.
Epilepsy shouldn't keep you from doing anything that you want to do.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it.
This season, we are going to continue to talk about living with epilepsy, like my son and millions of Americans who do. We're also going to be looking at other related conditions and causes. Our goal is to knock down, drag out, eliminate stigma, and raise awareness. Oh, and hopefully have a laugh or two along the way. Each of our episodes will feature amazing advocates and champions. We will learn together how to make a real difference in our own lives and in the lives of our communities.
Talking about it is important. It's all about connecting.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Thank you for talking about it.
Thank you for talking about it.
New season, new look, new sponsor. Thank you to Neurelis and everyone at Neurelis for sponsoring Talk About It. Talk About It is also sponsored by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. Thank you, Jazz, for always being there for us. All right, let's jump right into this episode of Talk About It. Well, happy 2025 Talkabouters. I don't know what to call it. It's the greatest community ever that we have created. Happy holidays and happy new year from all of us here at Talk About It. We have a very, very special episode to end the year with. You know, I'm an old fart. I just am. I'm a dad. I'm a caregiver. I'm an advocate. I'm, an actor, certainly. But it's about the younger generation, the ones that are coming up that are really going to make the impression and set the future in motion. Is the future going to be filled with a bunch of people that understand the conditions and understand the people that have these conditions? Yes, because of you, because we all talk about it, but especially because of the young people. Well, this episode, we have two incredible voices, two people that have epilepsy, and both are part of Young Adults with Epilepsy. If you don't follow Young Adults with Epilepsy, you need to, and you're about to hear all about their organization. On today's episode, we have Weitl and Chels Scantland. You're going to find out everything you need to know about them coming up right now on this episode of Talk About It. Thank you so much for joining me on the episode. This is an episode that I've wanted to do for so long because I'm such an old guy, and my son is almost 30, and so he's a young adult, and it's just so important to know that we're not alone, especially the young community. So thank you guys for joining me. I really, really appreciate it so much. How are you?
I'm blushing at that intro. I'm doing well.
I have so many questions. There's so many questions that were sent in and also AI generated. And I have questions and I hope you guys are okay representing the Young Adults with Epilepsy because that's your organization. So I'm putting your feet to the fire. Tell me, Abby, tell me about your epilepsy journey.
My epilepsy journey is somewhat unique, but I feel like it's something that's echoed a lot throughout the epilepsy community. I first started showing signs of seizures at around 5 years old. And I had something that we now know is called sunflower syndrome, where I turn my body involuntarily to like a bright light. In my case, it was the sun. And on the playground, I'd turn my body towards the sun and I'd wave my hand in front of my face, creating a strobe light effect.
Are you listening to the podcast? Have you been listening to the podcast? Because we just had on.
Really?
Yes. She's an athlete. She plays, she's a senior. She plays at Cal Berkeley. She's a volleyball player. I cannot believe what you're talking because I had never heard of this before. And she said, I look at the sun. I do this with my hand.
Wow.
Crazy.
I haven't met anybody else who has experienced it. I've seen posts on like Facebook forums that my mom will show me. But it was something that, I experienced as a kid. I had a nickname on the playground, John Cena.
What? Did you do that?
Yeah, when he was a big wrestler at the time, his whole shtick was "you can't see me," and I had no idea I was doing these. Like whenever it would happen, I would just like for a couple seconds, black out, come back. And then all the kids would be looking at me like, oh, John Cena, you can't see me, Abby.
Right. Well,
And
at least there was like a really cool reference, you know?
yeah,
I mean, no one likes to be teased, but if you're gonna have a reference, it's like a really tough wrestler.
it totally reframed things for me because I didn't really get it. But my parents were like, okay, something is not right here. They took me to neurologist after neurologist after neurologist. As a kid, I had no idea like what really was happening. They're like, oh, we're gonna take a trip to the Bay Area today. We're gonna go to Pizza My Heart, have a good day. Also, we're gonna see this guy. And I was misdiagnosed as having a tic or like almost Tourette syndrome, not enough evidence, until I had my first tonic-clonic seizure after a morning swim practice.
Mm.
That was around almost 12 years old. Ruined my like abruptly ended the swim career that I was slightly working on there. And
Yeah, it's
yes,
interesting because that's one of the things, right?
yeah.
Swimming, bike riding, driving, like these are the things that like you got to be really, not that you can't do them, but you got to be really, really careful. I mean, I remember, um, taking, we were on a bike ride, me and Jake when he was really young and he was riding and I see him in front of me and I just see his head start to bob. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God. And I'm racing my bike up and grab the back of the seat, you
Oh.
know, it was almost really bad and he almost crashed, the bike. But yeah, wow, so emotionally, how was that for you when you were 12 and you were told you can't swim anymore?
It was really tough. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, to all the 12-year-olds out there, being 12 is probably 13 years old, one of the hardest ages I've ever experienced. And I still have so much life to go through, but it's such a transitional age. I was transitioning out of elementary school to middle school, thinking about, okay, who am I gonna be? Who am I?
Yeah.
And now we have this new epilepsy diagnosis on top of it. Going to like a specialty neurologist out in San Francisco. For context, I'm in Central California, and so it's it's a big day trip for us. And just feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so different. And how do you, just hold that in yourself and make sense of all of that? And so,
As
yeah,
a young teenager, you're also going through puberty. There's pressures
yeah.
with school. There's girlfriends, boyfriends, friend groups, cliques. I mean, it's like there's so much to worry about, and you feel different anyway because you're looking for a group that you can say, "Oh, these are my peeps. This is who I'm." Your group that you're, and now you're different because not because you want to be. Yeah. So immediately, did you get on medication or treatment or whatever, and did it help right away?
In a sense, the seizures did stop, which was amazing. I was on a medication and I had some really adverse mental health side effects because of it. And I don't want to sugarcoat
No,
too much, if that's all right,
of
but
course.
this medication gave me like suicidal ideation at 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I mean, for all the reasons you mentioned before, it's such a like tumultuous time period.
Yeah.
And so for a really, really long time, associated taking medication and my condition as something that's like, this is really negative. This is something that makes me different. And I want to put it in a little tiny little box, keep it inside, make sure it's my secret, my family's secret, that nobody knows. And I didn't tell anybody really about it for almost 10 years. Um,
Wow. That's hard.
mhm.
Looking back, would you, and you're going to get a chance to speak, Chelsea, I swear to God.
Yes.
We're going to get to you. No, that's really, really hard. I mean, looking back, would you had wished that you were more vocal? Because now, I mean, look at you guys. You've got this great organization and charity and stuff. And so you're encouraging people to embrace the community and embrace that there's help out there. Did you feel isolated and alone because of it?
100%. There's so much learning that I think I purposefully like avoided any kind of communication, any sort of like deep vulnerability, because it was uncomfortable and it was too real, and I didn't know how people were going to react. Were they going to were they going to reject me? And so it started with the epilepsy, but it bled into every other part of my life. It just made me so small. I made myself so small. And I do wish that I talked about it earlier and seen how people reacted and seen how um, positive and understanding and accommodating people can be. Talking about it helps to reduce so much of that stigma, not just out there in the world, but just internally as somebody living with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you realize that you're not alone and everybody's going through something. I mean, whether it's epilepsy or not, man, you start talking and people, I mean, I've had so many people open up to me about things and I'm like, okay, it's, and the side effect that you mentioned, the suicidal ideation is very common. And this is, every medication has side effects. And this is why if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you have to check with your doctor. You know your body, you know your brain better than anybody else. And if something's not normal with a medication, there are so many options out there. So don't stop. Don't go, oh, I can't because I'm gaining weight, or I can't because I'm depressed or tired or suicidal. I'm thinking about harming myself. No, there are other medications out there that might be right for you. Everybody's different, And speaking of everybody's got something, Chels, let's talk about your epilepsy. By the way, I just, as a dad, and don't take this the wrong way, I'm so proud of you guys. I just am. I'm so proud of you. I don't know how old you are, but you're young and you are owning this and this organization, which we'll talk about after we get Chelsea's story. But everybody needs to know about your organization and we all need to work together. So anyway, I'll say that over and over again during the podcast, but this is just wonderful that you're here and you're doing what you're doing. Okay, so tell us, how did this start for you?
Well, I was, I think, 12 years old, which kind of seems to be pretty common. And all of a sudden, I was out at the mall. I was with my sister, and I woke up on the ground. So I don't know what was going on. No one saw it. Went to the doctor. 13-year-old girls, they faint. It's how you're wired. Well, I kept fainting for about the next 12 years with no diagnosis, or just drink a little bit more water, eat a little bit more salts. And
how much time had gone past?
12 years.
12 years?
Yeah.
So you had that one episode in the mall and then nothing for 12 years?
No, sorry. No, I was having multiple one year I think I had like 8, and those were the tonic-clonic seizures, but I was having small ones as well. I just didn't recognize what it was because, as I was saying, not everybody talks about it. So that education isn't out there for me as a kid to be like, oh, wait, that feeling's not normal.
And what about your parents? Like, did you obviously went to the doctor and no one hooked you up to, to monitor your brain or anything?
No, and it's not from my mom not trying.
Yeah, of course. That's why I wanted to put out there, because people are going to be like, why didn't her parents? Well, clearly they did.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And looking back, how frustrated you must be about that, because, this is that's why it's so important. Everyone, again, if you're listening to this and you can identify with it or whatever, get to not only a neurologist, but an epileptologist. And if you are young, a pediatric epileptologist. There are specialists. They know how, all the hormones that are running through a body, the body's growing. You get on a medication, just speaking from our personal experience, Jake, he'd be on a med and be working, but his body's growing so much, and then all of a sudden he'd need more or less or combination of things. Okay, so 12 years of having seizures. What was the worst, most inopportune time that it happened? Do you remember?
I was working in a theater at this point, and I walked off stage. Thank goodness. And I fell down the back. And my mic was on, you hear clunk, 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 clunk.
Oh my God. Wow.
But no, I was just fainting, so it was fine.
Yeah, sure. You could have hurt. I mean, you really could have, bruised yourself and all of that. I mean, that's head trauma. That's dangerous.
Yeah, I actually have permanent neck problems that I have to deal with too. So the epilepsy and the neck problems, my doctor's sick of hearing from me, honestly.
Right.
I'll be in there. If I have a flu or something, or I don't know, I'm like, I'm not going in. I can't see him again. He's going to bug him.
Right. What's interesting is it makes you your bar, like you're saying, this bar where you're like, oh, I have a cold. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? As opposed to if you hadn't gone through this stuff, you'd be like, I got the sniffles, call the paramedics. I mean, it all puts it in perspective. So 12 years go by. And then finally, how did you get the diagnoses that you were looking for?
No one ever really saw my seizures. And I had one in this really, really bad apartment I was living in. It was completely just falling apart. And I woke up and I'd actually really hurt my foot and it was bleeding and I'd put a hole in the wall. And I called my doctor and said, you know what? I might be moving, I think, when this is happening.
Wow.
Finally, he's like, oh, yeah, let's check this out again. So, and then I got my diagnosis, and honestly, I was just thrilled at that point. I'm like, I can have medication. I can have like different treatments for this. So
wow.
That went down pretty quick once I had to deal with the medication. But at first, I was over the moon. Like,
yeah. And now are you well controlled with the medication that you're taking now?
I would say I'm pretty well controlled. I have a rare form of epilepsy. It's developed over the years, which is something so interesting, to me at least. I know zilch about neurology, but I just know I'm like, okay, this is something I'm supposed to grow out of, and now it's totally transformed into something new. But right now I have a form called Jevons syndrome, where it's eyelid myoclonic, where I'm conscious for the most part, usually have absent seizures, and I'll have a couple of those like once or twice a week, and then like tonic-clonic once a year. So I'm able to just go through my everyday life and live.
Chels, what about you? Are you pretty, you take your medication, you take care of yourself and all that, and or do you still occasionally have an episode?
Yeah, I do have seizures maybe like once every 3 months or so. Not always super bad. I had one a couple weeks ago, but for the most part, they're not as severe as they used to be. I have secondarily generalized, so they'll start as like a little one, and sometimes they progress to a big one. So usually they stay pretty small these days, but
yeah,
about once a year I'll wake up and have had a little nap on the floor.
But you're still chasing. We're all still chasing, to not have those episodes because they happen when you're not the least expected. Do you get auras? Do you get a little warning? Oh, you do? Okay, well, that's good. I mean, because Jake doesn't get that. So, and he will have a seizure transitioning from sleep to wake or wake to sleep sometimes, when he's waking up in the morning. Okay, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, I want to hear about your amazing organization and why you started this, and then we're going to take a bunch of these questions. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Coming up on Talk About It.
I had a seizure in front of my middle school celebrity crush. My health, it's something that I got to take seriously.
But in a way, it is good because it has taught me to slow down. If I don't take a break, my brain's going to make me take a break. So I just take better care of myself these days.
If you're listening to this or you're watching this, go back, listen to that again. We at Talk About It are so excited about the incredible year that we just had, but we're even more excited about the incredible year that is ahead. But we still have a lot of really important work to do. We still need more people to be made aware, to educate, to bring to the bright side, not the dark side, of all the conditions we are advocating for. What is the bright side? The bright side is understanding, is talking about it, is creating a community so that everybody knows they're not alone. Everybody's got something. And if you can reach out and you can talk to somebody that's going through what you're going through, or even something else, you're going to glean information. That's what Talk About It is all about. And we're really, really excited about how big we've become, how incredible this community is, but we have so much more work to do. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel, to Talk About It, on YouTube right now. Right now, pause what you're doing and subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcast or a platform, streaming platform, rate this podcast right now and share this. Share Talk About It with friends and family in your life that need to hear it. Give them the best possible gift ever this holiday season. The gift of understanding, the gift of compassion, the gift of conversation, the gift of community, and the gift of talking about it. Okay, I'm so proud of you guys. Young adults with epilepsy. What is it? Tell people what it is and how it started. Who started it?
Young Adults with Epilepsy was started by a mother. Her name is Wendy Steele. She is a phenomenal human being. Her son also has epilepsy, and she found during his care and his treatment, there weren't any resources for him as like transitioning from pediatric care to adult care. It's kind of a harsh transition if you start in pediatrics. It's like, okay, you're a kid, you're surrounded by people who kind of look like you, and then now suddenly you're thrust into a waiting room. This is what happened to me. I'm thrust into a waiting room of people who are like 60 plus, who develop epilepsy later in their life for whatever reason, genetics, accidents, it happens. And she was looking for mental health resources. She wanted to start a clinic in her local hospital, and it just wasn't possible. It just wasn't happening. She was like, you know what, screw it. We're going to do it ourselves.
Great.
And she's just a pioneer and a trailblazer there. And since then, I met her at a walk at one of their first walks for epilepsy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was us and maybe 9 other people. And it was one of those moments for me where I wanted to meet other people who had it. I thought I was so alone, and I'd gotten to a point where my seizures were increasing. I had just graduated college, and I was like, I got to take my life into my own hands. And I talked to Wendy. She was amazing. She's like, you join our team, because she's just this amazing, joyful, positive rainbow all the time.
Yeah. I love it.
I was their first official employee. And from there, we just developed, I wanted to really work on like mental health supports for young people with epilepsy. And so I help them with monthly workshops where we talk about different specific topics related to epilepsy, and hopefully inform people, anything under the sun, you name it. One of my favorites is just talking about like independence and autonomy, and how, as a young adult, when you're trying to build your life in your early career, how do you find that if you don't have a driver's license or you can't get hired?
Yeah.
And I also do weekly peer support groups, where just hop on a call like this, casual chat, casual check-in, and come as you are. Tell me what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. Let's build community. Let's help other people realize, you're not alone in this.
If somebody right now needs the resources from, your organization, where can they go?
So many places. I think the easiest would to be our website, which was designed by Chels here. She's our mastermind. If you go to our website, we have a whole tab dedicated to peer support, and that's for all of those community connections, group calls like this, or our workshops. And then we also have, from there, hyperlinks to a Discord community if you just want to not talk about epilepsy all of the time, but
That's
make
good.
some friends with people who get it. So that's youngadultswithepilepsy.org.
Youngadultswithepilepsy.org. We're going to say it. We're going to put it up. And this is so important. And this group, the young adults, are so vulnerable in this area because, especially, having gone through COVID and all of that, it's like everybody's isolated. Now you give them another reason to feel like they're all alone. They're going through this alone. It's their fault. That could not be further from the truth. This is something out of your control, man. So knowing that there's support out there, youngadultswithepilepsy.org. Please click on it. Even if you don't think you need it or whatever, you're just listening to this, you're a parent, you're a friend, you have epilepsy and you're an adult. Who cares? You'll learn from what they're doing. So, and again, I love what you guys are doing. It's incredible. Now, this website would look so bad if it wasn't for you, Chels. Let's just talk about how horrible. Like, you wouldn't even be able to navigate it. You wouldn't know what's going on.
It's true.
How did you get involved with the organization?
Well, first of all, yeah, the website. Thanks, Abby. So I was working at a startup for tech, making detection devices for people with epilepsy. And I kind of snuck in there and I was like, oh, surprise, I have epilepsy. I can give you the inside scoop as well. But they asked me, they said, hey, we need a bunch of testers, reach out to all the nonprofits you can find. Spoke to Wendy and just absolutely fell in love with the organization. And I'm like, how can I help? How can I volunteer with you? And then eventually I got to join the team, which I was so excited for because all the things, Abby's saying is we're really just meeting people. And I feel like we're offering that support that you didn't. Sometimes I feel like people didn't even know that they needed the support, which is kind of me for there. And then once I get there, I'm like, yes, I needed people who just get it.
Yes. And by the way, there's a shorthand, and you guys know this. You get to the walk, or you meet, like for me, I meet another dad or a mom that has, a relative or, child or a young adult with epilepsy. I don't have to go through the 30 minutes of telling them my story. I mean, you know what I mean? There's just this, they get it. When you're around other people that have epilepsy, it's one of those things, or another caregiver in my case, it's just so important. So did you see a need, or did they not have a website before you got involved?
No, they had a website. I think I improved a tiny bit, but no, it was already beautiful. It was already doing a great job, but I just wanted to sneak in there, and I'm like, I can help with SEO. And I think I volunteered for a couple weeks, and they snagged me, and I was so happy.
So good. Okay. I want to go to these questions because we have a lot of them, okay? And don't give me the sanitized version of your answer, Okay, I'm just going to go, okay, what was the moment that you realized epilepsy was going to affect your identity as a young adult, not just your health?
I wish it were as clear-cut as there was one specific moment, like starting from the beginning. But I think because I shoved it down for so long and I ignored like my health and my needs for so long. Chels, you've heard the story a gajillion times.
No,
Sorry in advance. But it's the only epilepsy story that I have that's actually somewhat entertaining. Again, it's like these big transition moments for me is where like I really I'm forced to reckon with my condition and it's okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I was a freshman in college. I'm still going to UC Santa Barbara, and there was a moment where I wasn't sleeping all that great, staying up all night, doing my assignments late. I wasn't eating all that great, wasn't taking care of myself. I was trying to fit in with the people around me, and UCSB has a reputation for being a party school.
Yeah, especially during Halloween.
Oh yeah.
IV and Halloween is.
Oh, you've got the abbreviation down.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Isla Vista, if for people that don't know, every school's got their thing, right? They've got like a parade or this or that holiday, whatever, a big game or whatever. During Halloween, that area is as crowded as it ever could. You can't imagine, because it's not just you guys. It's not just students.
Oh no.
Everybody goes up there.
Everybody's there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. They lock down the whole town now. Fences everywhere.
So you're doing all the wrong things for somebody that could have triggers for seizures.
Yeah. And I had the thought going into college. First of all, I had no idea it was a party school. I really was super naive about all of it. And then I get there, I'm like, oh, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, my whole dorm floor, they've got the music pumping, the drinks they're flowing. And I'm like, okay, this is the moment where maybe I practice. Maybe I start to tell people, it's like, maybe I just don't want to drink today. For the most part, everybody was really accepting. But my story is months into that, past Halloween, and my mental health had tanked. School was different for me because my brain was built different, and I'd never really addressed that. And with all of these other bad habits I developed, there was a celebrity moment on campus where Josh Hutcherson came to UCSB to try and get people registered to vote for the presidential primaries. And in my mind, I was like, wow, yes, that's a celebrity, but like also I'm not registered to vote. This is a great opportunity for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also running on no sleep, didn't eat. I didn't take my meds that morning.
Yeah.
And it's just like this perfect storm where I'm telling myself as I'm walking from my class, I'm like, okay, I'm going to see him talk, get registered, and I'm going to go back to my dorm, take a big fat nap, and be okay. He's like, okay, we're going to go walk to the polls. And we start walking up and down campus. Students are shuffling. I'll admit, I pushed my way to the front.
Yeah.
I was trying to get closer. And right when we got pretty close to IV, I'm sure you're familiar with this, Greg, but for people who aren't, there's a famous tunnel there, the Pardal Tunnel, where the lights will flicker on as you walk by them. And so now we've got a whole crowd of people walking through this tunnel into Isla Vista to get to the polling site. And myself, who's a photosensitive epileptic, who hasn't taken care of herself and has been in this heat pushing herself towards
Oh
a
man.
famous celebrity. I had that moment of an aura walking through that tunnel where it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go down. And I see a bench like maybe 5 feet away. I'm like, I'm just gonna get to that bench and sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last thought that I had before I woke up in the ER.
Did people around you at that moment, did they know that you had epilepsy or you could have a seizure?
I don't think I knew a single person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a complete, total random crowd of students there.
So this is one of those things where, you could be told, hey, your life's different. Hey, you could prepare for stuff, but you never know. All of a sudden you're excited. I mean, you were excited. You're doing an event with friends. It's like, I got to see this guy. No, but it's all of that, adding up. So after that happened, you must have gone, okay, it's sort of a tough lesson, right?
It really is so eye-opening. I mean, I was 18, freshly 18 at that point, and I wanted my parents to trust that I could live on my own. And I'm sitting there alone in the emergency room, no idea where it is located in the city, no idea where or how I'm going to get back to my apartment. And I'm going, this is rock bottom. I think I've hit it. I had a seizure in front of my middle school celebrity crush. Okay. It really kicked my ass into gear where it's just, okay, my health, it's something that I gotta take seriously. Okay. It's something that I gotta prioritize here.
Yep. All right, Chels, you're up.
Yeah.
Top that story.
Oh, I absolutely cannot. That is my favorite story. Thanks for Abby for bringing that into my life.
But when did you realize? And it doesn't even have to be a story like that. Was there a moment where you just went, I'm going to own this, or was there a tough lesson for you?
Yeah, I think kind of it's a story we all have, same as Abby, just a little less exciting, but just pushing myself, being like, I was just diagnosed. I was still working night shifts. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I've done it forever. And then you have that seizure and you wake up and it's like everything resets and you're like, okay, maybe I should take this seriously at this point. And then, but in a way it is good because it has taught me to slow down and not push myself too far and not spread myself too thin, because I know if I don't take a break, my brain's going to make me take a break. So I just take better care of myself these days.
By the way, that's a really great way of putting that. That's great. If you're listening to this or you're watching this, go back, listen to that again. If you don't take care of it, your brain's going to take care of it. And, and you are one and the same, but at the same time, you know the right and wrong things that you can do.
Coming up on Talk About It.
Number one, find someone to talk to. Peer group, therapist, because you don't think it's going to hit you as much as it is.
I want to add the caveat. So sorry, Greg. Talk about it to somebody who's not your parent.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to speak up. I'm old. I didn't hear what you said. If I don't take a break, my brain is going to make me take a break? I mean, mic drop. That's guests just dropping knowledge here on Talk About It. That is so good. And it's something to consider on the holidays as you go to these parties, as you get ready for the new year. It's all about staying up late and possibly drinking alcohol. Make sure that you understand your triggers. Put yourself in the best situation possible to avoid seizures. Everybody has triggers, right? It's the stuff that we always talk about here on the show. Just remember, stay on your schedule as much as possible. Take your medications on time. Eat when you normally would eat. And if you have to stay up late, try to get a good nap in during the day. That day that you're going to be going to that party that night. It's just all smart. It's sort of like set up Sundays or meal prep for the day, mind prep for the holidays. That's really what it is. And speaking of drinking, we're about to get into that. Here are some tips from the young experts in the world. Let's get back to the episode. One thing that Jake learned when he was going through high school and college was if he was at a party, he would have a beer, pour out half of it, and just hold a half-empty beer. No one needs to know if they're drinking it or not. I'm just not an alcohol guy. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but it's like I just don't like it. Doesn't do anything for me, right? So the waiter will come by, oh yeah, beer and a thing and a mint, whiskey and whatever, and I'm like, just I'm good with water or whatever. Or then they'll always look at me and just go, "Good for you," and I'm like, no, I'm not recovering. I just don't want anything to drink, and you end up having to explain yourself. I can imagine, well, like with my hair, like I have to. People see me and they're like, "What happened?" And it's like, I am so effing tired of going through the explanation. And that's got to be exhausting for you guys, right? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the drinking thing. At first I would do the same thing. I'd just kind of nurse something, or I'd have a ginger ale or something that looked kind of
Hey, there you go.
quite sure what was in the glass.
Yeah.
But I feel like now I've just leaned into that, and it's a good kind of icebreaker and be like, oh yeah, I have epilepsy. Here is one of the things, and hey, by the way, here's what to do if I have a seizure and how you can help me. Yes. But I'll ask the waiter, I'm like, I don't drink. Can you make me something fun? And I get Virgin Caesars or Shirley Temples or what have you. I've got some really interesting things that way. So
I love that. That's good.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
First, like if I feel like I'm comfortable with the person and I can disclose to them, like, yeah, I may have like worse seizures tomorrow because of it. I'm not going to feel my best, or I may have to rest more. So not tonight. I'm not going to have any. But the tricky thing is for me is just, okay, bringing up epilepsy in general is, can I do that? Do I want to do that? And my answer changes all the time. I feel like now I'm working for an epilepsy organization. I feel like I'm talking epilepsy all the time. It's so second nature to me. But for a while, it's kind of hard internally to step into this role of, okay, I don't know how they're going to react. I want to tell them about my epilepsy. I want to tell them about this condition, and I want others to be informed, but I don't want to be a downer. I don't want to make anybody feel really worried. Okay, say we're already at the party and someone hands me a drink and I go, "Oh, actually can't drink that. I've got epilepsy." And I've had reactions where people are like, "Oh, you can't even be here. What are you doing? You gotta go home."
Right.
It's like, no, I'm good. I've got medication. I know what to do in the event of a seizure. Do you know what to do? But then it's just like this like weird tension to the conversation that gets added, that over time it gets easier, and like I've learned how to joke about it.
Yeah. And what's interesting is like, it's not your responsibility to be the spokesperson for epilepsy.
Right.
It's not. But in your circle, like you guys were saying, it's like the people around you know what to do. It's an easy conversation. By the way, people have it all the time. Oh, I'm allergic to peanuts. I carry this EpiPen. I mean, you guys could be like, hey, I carry this immediate use med or whatever you carry, or just know what to do. Like, don't stick anything in my mouth. Turn me on my side. Don't let, all the myths and the stupid stuff where it's like, you can't catch this, guys. Okay, we have time for a couple more. I have so many questions. You guys are coming back on, okay? We have to do another episode of just rapid fire questions because this is great. Let me see. Social media can be empowering, but it can also be brutal, but it's also a tool that you all use with your organization. It's not just a website. Like you said, there's so many different places to go. You can follow young adults with epilepsy on Instagram, on, I'm sure, TikTok, all of it. But how do you protect your mental health while being so visible about epilepsy online? Like epilepsy or not, just as a young adult, like what are the parameters you set for yourself as far as social media and staring at a phone or a computer all day?
I know for me, because 9 to 5 at Young Adults with Epilepsy, 5 o'clock hits, I sign out of that business account. I go to my personal one, and I don't want to see one thing with epilepsy. And it's not that I don't care, it's that I've cared all day, and I still have to deal with mine at the end of the day.
Well, can you talk about it just 5 minutes of your day?
Oh, I followed you, and I watched your podcast.
Okay, good.
You're good. One exception.
Okay, because at talkaboutit.org, I'm telling you, there are so many resources, so many quick videos. You don't have to listen to a whole 45-minute podcast. But no, I was joking. But okay, and Abigayle, how about you? What sort of parameters do you set for yourself with social media?
I feel like I'm constantly, just in general, setting parameters with social media. It is a tug of war that I don't know what I want. But when it comes to epilepsy, I get really inspired seeing other people talking about it,
Yeah.
and hearing their experiences. And if I get a face to match the voice in a story, I really do find that to be awesome. And I do follow a ton of so many epilepsy organizations out there in the world on my personal Instagram. But I do have a hard line about seeing seizures on social media, which, since I'm talking to young adults living with epilepsy all the time, this is like a lot of people are really like for it. They're like, this is helping bring visibility to like this condition. For me, it's just like, oh, it's just too much.
Yeah. And by
And
the way, that's fine. I mean,
yeah.
everybody's got their, for me, it's a weird comparison because this is important and what I'm about to say is not important, but I get people send me scripts, right? And they're like,
Mhm.
would you read this script? My friend wrote a script. Can you read this? And I'm like, this is what I do all day long. I'm reading, I'm
Yeah.
preparing. So I get what you're saying, because you guys have devoted so much of your attention to helping others with epilepsy, but I think you answered this in a really eloquent way because there is so much, there's doom scrolling, there's, you see stuff online, if you search seizures and epilepsy, there's bad stuff that comes up. Talk about it. We have, almost 400,000 people that follow us and then are subscribed and get all, they're going to all watch this. But the majority bad stuff always rises to, unfortunately, on social
It's
media,
true.
when you Google stuff. Give me, this is our last question. Then we'll do a lot of other questions the next time. I'm already committing you guys to another episode.
I'm in.
What advice, somebody's listening to this right now, they've been newly diagnosed or they know they have it. They know they have seizures. They think, I blacked out. I can't remember driving from there to there. I was in class and they know they had a seizure or whatever. What advice do you give someone who's newly diagnosed, a teenager especially, who's terrified for their future, that their future just got a lot smaller?
Ooh. Okay, well, at least I wish someone had told me. It's just like, number one, find someone to talk to. Peer group, therapist, somebody, because you don't think it's going to hit you as much as it is. First, you're going to deal with getting those seizures under control, and then you're going to realize, oh, this is going to change my life. These are the things I wanted to do that I no longer can. Like, I had my scuba license, which is such a silly thing to be sad about.
No,
No,
But
not at all.
so
not at all.
sad. And that with also, I've experienced the lovely side effects of medication on your mood,
Yeah.
and you just don't know how that's going to hit you. So make sure you're talking to someone, you're checking in with someone to just keep your mental health about you so you can actually have the energy to deal with the epilepsy itself as well.
Yeah. And I'll just add to that Abigayle, before you say what you're going to say, but go to youngadultswithepilepsy.org. Just start there. Go to talkaboutit.org. These are two great resources, but if you're a young adult, if you're a teenager, go to Young Adults with Epilepsy. That's what they're there for. There's something to click on right away and people there to help you. Abigayle, what's your advice?
I want to just echo what Chels said, mostly like talk about it. And I want to add the caveat. So sorry, Greg. Talk about it to somebody who's not your parent. So it's somebody who's not seeing and
I'm sorry, you're
amplifying
gonna have to speak up. I'm old. I didn't hear what you said. No, no apologies. Are you kidding me? Look, I talk about this
Yeah.
all the time. You want to find somebody who gets it. You think a dad gets some 14, 15-year-old girl who's going through? No. I mean, as much as they want to bubble wrap you. They want to make you safe. You don't want to be living, right? You don't want to be living your life with bubble wrap. You want to spread your wings, but you want to do it safely or whatever. Talk to another peer and they'll give you the guidance. So
You don't want to amplify any fears or internalize any shame and judgment. Just talk about it with somebody. If it's a friend, I promise you the reaction is going to be much more compassionate and understanding than you realize. And the scariest part is just saying something. Once you take that first step, the rest of it, suddenly you feel like, okay, I've got, two shoulders to fall back onto. I've got people who I know will support me, even if my trips to the doctor don't go out and work out as planned. And I also too don't want to get stuck in because there can be a lot of negative about having this condition, but I think it truly has changed my life for the better, which sounds like an oxymoron.
no, I
But
get it.
I've developed perseverance. Like Chels said, I've learned to slow down, which has given me immense patience in moments of hardness, a lot of grit, because you gotta be. And this is a lesson I'm still learning, but learning how to be an advocate for yourself will serve you in every aspect of your life. And you'll find that epilepsy kind of forces you to. And it is such a useful skill. And also, one last note for your future, it may not look exactly like everybody else's. It may not follow the cookie cutter format of like different milestones to hit. If I may use myself as an example, I right now am in a master's program, getting my degree for school psychology. And I know so many people who think, oh, okay, college is just now out of the question. Living on my own is just now out of the question. And that's just not the case.
That's BS. Let's call it what it is.
Yes.
I agree. And you know, it's interesting because Jake's heard this a lot. I'm sure you've heard this a lot. Like, "Oh, you've had to grow up so much faster than you needed to. Man, you've been Well, guess what? When you're my age, okay, I'm almost 60, and you go, oh, I wish I knew then what I know now. Well, you guys are getting closer to that, and that's a privilege. I'm not saying that you love the journey to get there, because there are certain things that you wish didn't happen. But at the same time, glass half full, you guys are making the most of it, and you're learning from it. And I've yet to meet people that are as articulate and as wise as you guys are. And I'm not saying I've always been this way, because obviously you've had hard lessons, but what a treat having you on the podcast. I mean, you're just amazing people, and your organization Wendy, we got to get Wendy on next time, right? That would be awesome. But youngadultswithepilepsy.org, that's where people should start.
With social media, we got our TikToks, we got our podcasts, we got our Discord, we got our peer support. Like, tons of resources for you.
Now you're just showing off, okay? Because we don't have that. Come on, let's compare notes. We might need help from you guys. Whatever we can do in the future to amplify and help, please let me know. Again, we have, close to 400,000 people that are subscribed. So if we can get the message out, if we can pump it out, whatever, if you guys have an event, you have something, a message that you want, because we're all in this together. And the more we work together, the more we can help more people, in our community. Thank you. You're going to be on another episode, I promise you. But thanks for being on this episode to talk about it.
Thank you for being such an amazing dad.
Oh,
Really.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Talk About It with Greg Grunberg. Sponsored by Neurelis and by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. Thank you to our special guests for joining us, and thank you J.J. Abrams for the theme music that you're hearing right now. Talk About It is produced by Ken Lowenberg, Greg Grunberg, and Nick Marzok. Editing, directing, and incidental music by Nick Marzok. Go to talkaboutonvideo.com to watch these episodes, and as always, don't forget to talk about it. This podcast is a production of the Talk About It Company and Motel Podcasts.